A change of venue today. I'm sheltering in the calm of the Remembrance Garden here in Bakewell in Bath Gardens. It's a bright but a chilly morning, and so I'm nicely out of the wind here. I've just picked up some essential supplies from the hardware store. More rubber gloves, sanitizer for the handles and the doors, and metal worktops, and actually for this phone, because this where I go, this phone goes, of course. Yours too. And after touching everything, what's the first thing you do? Well, you touch your phone. And it dawned on me that when I got back from the co-op, before I got into the routine of keeping safe and watching my contact points, you'd get home and having used these things for all the touch points in the supermarket, you know, choosing the bananas and then at the cash till and putting your PIN number in if that's what you needed to do. Better contactless, of course. Get home, and how do you take your gloves off? you stick them. Well, I stick them in my mouth to take your rubber gloves off. Anyway, I don't do that now, of course. No, I wash them first, and then I can use them again. I was musing with the lovely lady at the hardware shop, who's also a big fan of Lanzarote, as it happens. She goes there often. She's been opening her shop daily for 25 years, and as she told me this morning, on the basis that one day, when she'd been open long enough, she wouldn't have to open again and retire. And I told her that my friends were waiting to see if I did a day's work before I retire. I do have now, I now have my bus pass, and I've used it once so far because there aren't any buses going anywhere. Isn't it funny? You wait for 3 free buses to come along and none come at once. Strange days. I likened the situation that we're in to these strange days to the lady in the hardware shop. I said, do you remember when you were a kid and you had an Etch sketch and you could draw something with the magic twiddling the knobs into the X and Y axis? Always difficult for me. Never could do a circle. Always ended up egg-shaped, broken egg-shaped, and but at the end you just swiped across back to zero. And in a way, it's like that now, isn't it, with this strange pandemic situation? At the end of the day, it's like you swipe and go back to zero. And nobody's watching, and nobody's monitoring you, nobody's looking over your shoulder, but we're all living each day at a time, and in a way it's quite freeing, I thought. I don't think she was convinced, but it's quite freeing because you make up your own rules. You go, shh, start again, shh, start again, and we're all behaving ourselves, we're all social distancing, we're all staying at home mostly. This is my slightly guilty secret of recording a vid whilst I'm on my shopping for essentials trip out. But yes, we get the opportunity every day to reinvent our own rules now. The old rules don't apply. The old rules of going to work, whether it be the office or the coalface or somewhere similar, or a call centre. Actually, it's not true. I've heard from 2 of my friends that call centres, the one that was named was Virgin. You've got 300 or 400 staff who are in high demand, of course, these days, because we're all staying at home and doing video calls and Skyping and Zooming like mad. We've all become online aficionados, and of course they are an essential service, the call centres. We rely on them to help sort our problems out. I'm going to have to call a call centre when I get back to the cottage now, because I desperately need broadband. Trying to upload videos on 3G on this phone is not a good. There's not a good wait time. Latency, I think they call it, or wait and see. But these essential workers, my friend's son amongst them, are in their, what do they call them? Not their cages, their hutches, with their computer and their headset, speaking to the likes of you and me, sorting us out. But they've got virtually no protection. Anyway, I was saying we make up our own rules, and this is a good opportunity to reinvent yourself, decide what's important, set your own priorities, work out how to spend your day. Do that, because nobody's watching, nobody's looking over your shoulder, as I say, and we have this opportunity to make each day whatever we choose it to be, which is both freeing and a challenge to many of us, most of us. There's nobody there to tell us how to live, what's important, how we spend our time, how we spend our money. I'll be honest, I've just bought a new frying pan and a little tiny poaching egg pan, not a lot of money, but that seems an absolute luxury, completely justified in the new lockdown situation. So I'm feeling very wanton. Well, I don't want them anymore because I've just bought them, but you know what I mean. A sort of luxuries that I wouldn't have bought a new frying pan. It was wrecked, by the way, by one of our lovely retreat guests who made a very special stir fry, which tasted delicious, but did wreck the pan. Now forgiven, I've got a new pan. But this idea of Etch a Sketch, go to ground zero every day, is actually a very good spiritual practice, methinks. I'll tell you why. Because contrary to popular opinion and cultural norm, there is no future and there is no past. We sort of dip ourselves in them like a tea bag in hot water, and its colours and flavours are present, but the truth is that neither the future nor the past actually exist. They only exist in our mind. And we can, of course we all do it, we call it our past or our story or our intentions or our hopes or our plans, but it's a complete mental fabrication and quite unnecessary, really, for living in freedom. So if you're feeling under the circumstances in this situation, or cabin fever, which we all do, and I did over the weekend, we can just remind ourselves that it ain't necessarily so. We're usually lost in some anticipated future of you won't be able to see such and such, or you won't be able to go to the football match, or many things which are futures that we would like to inhabit, but that we tell ourselves we can't, but we're lost in thought of the future. And it's the same about what we bring to the present from the past. And I'm particularly guilty of this, I have to say. Each morning in my meditation, at the end of my sort of run-in, I have a sort of practice run to quieten the mind. And one of the things, I surrender 4 things. And the last thing I surrender is I surrender critical thoughts of self and others. And I am non-judgmental in the ground of my being. That's it sounds a bit of a mouthful, that. Yes, I know. But it helps because it reminds me critical thoughts are always unhelpful, both of others and of self. Judge not, and you shall not be judged. And it's when we sort of cling on to our stories stuck on repeat, like an old tape loop about who we are and the past that sometimes infects our present. But now we have an opportunity to etch a sketch back to zero every day, make it up as you go along, live life more freely. What's the expression that I like to use for this? Well, let's call it holding on lightly, non-attachment to either anticipated futures or clingy pasts. I hope that's been helpful. I found it quite helpful. And I'm practicing it. Just an apprentice mystic.